so comes to 18 of the show wrestling and boxing videos. Ingemar Johansson on the front there. He fought Floyd Patterson 3 times, winning one of them by KO and losing the other 2. Floyd Patterson being the first man to regain the championship. So we go for the wrestling bit. There's Vern Gagne from Robbinsdale, Minnesota. Show wrestlers. Let's come get the wrestling bit done first. There's a bit about Bearcat Wright, who Dad and him also boxed and wrestled. Come and yes, we've got Sky High Lee there. And more of Bearcat Wright down the bottom there. Elmer Mills, show wrestling. Vincent Garibaldi, Argentina Zuma, Emil Dupree. Like I say, there's Bearcat Wright. Got sort of guillotine type footlock. Good athlete. Competed in a lot of sports there. There he is bridging. Someone on him. And he's against there Skull Murphy. Bearcat weighs 270 pounds. A big man for them days. 6'6". Then we got Ray Gunkel, show wrestler. Got a little butcher's grip there. Sort of like a jaw lock, something like that. Gunkel walking around the ring with Don Curtis. 230 pound Don Curtis. Another butcher's grip there for Luthez. Yeah, got lots of different. And then we got Neil Stewart down and Letty Bitters. Like the base. Got Skihi Lee, so got quite a lot of them there. Skihi Lee, 300 pounder he was. Skihi Lee. Pages are so hard to turn on these pages. Got the saga there, so Bob Leopla. Skihi Lee at the top there. Leaning over the ropes. Got a bit of Max Bear, the boxer who fought Joe Louis and his brother Buddy Bear, fought Joe Louis. Banger Max Bear. Joe Choisky, the man who he fought Jeffries. Old foals meet at Jeffries training camp there. But he fought Johnson and he knocked out Jack Johnson, and then where they were locked up because it was illegal back in them days. Still the gloved area though, and that's where apparently he taught Johnson his great defence. Said a big guy like you, Johnson, doesn't have to get hit. And he taught Jack Johnson his defence, which would stay with him. One of the greatest defences of all time. A bit about Marciano there. Again, this is the boxing bit. And then, yeah, right at the back, Skihi Lee. Got Carlos Ortiz there. There's a nice story about his youth getting bullied in Puerto Rico. Tonight Up Boxing. So yeah, that's the good thing about his magazines. Good mixture between the two sports, show wrestling and boxing. Skihi Lee again there. Oh, you got the ratings there. Pat O'Connor, Antonio Rocca, Killer Kowalski, Buddy Rogers, Eduard Carpenter and Dory Funk and Fred Blasey and Ray Gunkel, Dick Houghton and Mike DeBase. And in the females, you've got June Byers, Judy Grable, famous wrestling name, Dan Grable, don't think there's any relation, Tony Tomar, Penny Banner, Fabulous Muller, and Billy Starr, and Lorraine Johnson, Lily Bitters, Barbara Baker, and Neil Stewart. And you've got the tag teams there, all the tag teams, all the names: Kangaroos, the Tolos Brothers, Mark Lewin and Don Curtis, Rocker and Miguel Perez, Scott Brothers, the Sharp Brothers, Tiny Mills and Stanley Kowalski, Skull Murphy and the Sheik, and the Miller Brothers and Kalmikov Brothers. So I'll whiz through this. Again, a bit more about Ray Gunkel. Ray Gunkel there, Bearcat right, and Skull Murphy there. Whizzing back through. Just good to mention these names historically. Then you've got, yeah, you've got the Santos Professional Wrestling School there. Paul Compenterre, Killer Douglas, Jesse James, they're all champs. Argentina Zuma, Gypsy Joe, Mario Molino, Emile Dupree, Frank Shields, Fritz Von Erich, Alan Mills and Anne Lake. Ruth, this is the women's, Ruth Lake, Sherry Grable, Candy Carroll, and you've got the midgets, Sonny Boy Cassidy, Vincent Garibaldi, and Sir Robert Randall, and Little Eagle. There. Good mix with this, Freddie Gilroy there, Irishman there. I think it was Bantam, yeah, it was Bantamweight. And you've got the Max Bear there, Lou Nova. He had something called the Yoga Punch. It was the first, he used to do yoga. This was back in the 40s, etc. Unheard of then. Max Bear, a lot on Max Bear there. And he's got him against Jim Braddock, the Cinderella Man, who won the title off James J. Braddock. Had a cracked pair of ribs apparently. James J. Braddock come off the dole to win the title, then lost it to Joe Louis. A bit more Max Bear, Willie Tewell, he was the South African welterweight. Going right back to the 20s with Jack Dempsey. Is that Jack Dempsey? I think it is. Archie Moore there, definitely. Had the light heavyweight title for 10 years. Lost to Esa Charles though 3 times, getting stopped in the last one. But some regard Archie, Ancient Archie as he's called, or the Mongoose. They regard him as the greatest light heavy. Got Harry Greb up there, 46 in a year he won. And Nicky Walker, he would start, yeah, fought a heavyweight and he was a welterweight. Gorilla Jones, yeah. So it rumoured he was dating Mae West, Marcel Thiel, Vince Dundee, Freddie Steele, great middleweight, Fred Apostoli, who fought Billy Conn, who fought a light heavy, who fought Joe Louis, did well, winning rounds but never won the fights. Giuffano Garcia, who would stop Henry Armstrong getting his 4th weight division title simultaneously when there was 8 weight divisions. Tony Zhao, the Man of Steel, Rocky Graziano, Marcel Sedan. Unfortunately, he would die in a plane crash. Jake LaMotta, Sugar Ray Robinson, and Cole Bobo Wilson, the Hawaiian Punch, and Gene Fulmer had a lovely cross arm guard. Gene Fulmer. The non-apparel Jack Dempsey, don't get that confused with the Jack Dempsey of the 20s. This is just coming at the bare knuckle era, a bit earlier than that. Invented the pivot punch, which was really a back fist punch, but was outlawed. That was in the bare knuckle. And Mike Donovan, Bob Fitzsimmons there. Again, supposedly inventor of the solar plexus punch. Switched to southpaw and threw that. So folklore has it, his wife said hit him in a slatter's Jeff, Bob, and he did. Kid McCoy, the real McCoy. Tommy Ryan fought out of a crouch, and he trained James J. Jeffries. Stanley Ketchel would get shot by a jealous ranch hand when he was 23 years old. Walter Dibley, he got shot by Billy Papp. He fought Ketchel, but again, wild man like Ketchel. Les Darcy, all them actually, unfortunate early deaths, all of them, and even Kid McCoy actually. But again, he's quite different fighters. So, Kenny Lane there. Carlos Ortiz. And again, he was meant to fight Duran, but Duran pulled out of it, and Ken Buchanan come in and fought him. Scottish Ken Buchanan. There's a story about his youth getting bullied, etc. Before he started boxing, his mum moved him from Puerto Rico because of this to America. That's where he started boxing. Yeah, it's got some good ones there. What about Joe Choisky, James J. Jeffries, who would come back against Johnson years later in the Great White Hope era. There's Joe Choisky there. Yeah, and Alex Mintef, who would fight Cassius Clay at the time, later to be Muhammad Ali, early in his career, losing Billy Hunter. And has made it 2 straight over Alex Mintef there, winning. Brian London, appearance. And he was stopped by Nino Valdez. Oof. Yeah, there's a banger, Cuban banger. South African Willie Towell with Len Matthews. He would fight Rocky Marciano. Really good record he had, but he obviously was giving away a lot of weight to Marciano. Yeah, we've got Gene Fulmer there. Real tough. Again, really rooted his feet in the ground when he threw his shots. An upside down cross arm guard. Dave Charlie there. Again, getting through the Marciano there. To say he was 49-0 when he retired. Beat Ezra Charles, Archie Moore. Again, I was doing any ratings on this one. That he nearly come back to fight Ingemar Johansson, but it never happens. There's a picture there. He's well into his retirement at this time. But again, unfortunately, he would die in a plane crash. Rocky Marciano. Virgil Atkins, Henry Cooper. We've got the backbreaker there, demonstration of the backbreaker. So it's a good old mixture, these magazines. Love the style. This was February 1960, so it'd been the same year as the Rome Olympics. You've got a lovely picture of the beginning of the century, Tommy Burns, who would lose his title. Still has the record at the moment, I swear, for stoppages in title fights, but it's very small for heavyweight, 5'7". Noel Brussel. Noel Brussel was his proper name, but he changed it to Tommy Burns. The rest is history. So we're going to go with this one now. Again, Marciano v Archie Moore. Archie Moore put him down, but still lose. Then you've got Emil Griffith on the front there. But we're going to go straight to the wrestling part now. So it's some names here in the ratings. I'll go for the wrestling ratings, not the boxing ones on this one. Too many. So Bruno Sammartino, Luthez, Kinji Shibaya, Eddie Graham, Fritz von Erich, and Ray Stevens, Mad Dog Vachon, Pedro Morales, Dick Brucia, Bob Ellis, the Destroyer, that's just his name there, so I don't know, Dom Danuki, Vern Gagne, Carl Gotch. So sort of looks like they nicked the names. There was Frank Gotch. He was a proper real wrestler, not a show wrestler. They'll see they take their name. Johnny Valentine, Gene Kaniski, Ed Carpentier, Bobo Brazil, Haystack Calhoun, Frank Scarpa. You've got the women's there. There you go. Fabulous Muller, Penny Banner, Judy Grable. Like I said, there's Dan Grable in history. He was freestyle collegiate wrestler, famous, but highly likely just using the name. Alma Mills, Rita Cortez, Betty Boucher, Betty Nicoli, Pat Sherry, Betty Spencer, Princess Little Cloud, Jean Anton, Kay Noble, Georgia Brown, Judy Glover, Vern Bottoms and Tony Rose, Bambi Bell, and Barbara Galento. Again, there was two-time Tony Galento, who was a boxer, did go into the wrestling. Not too sure. Probably just using these names maybe. Joanne, or just, coincidence. Joanne Phillips, Cora Combs, yeah. Two-time Tony Galento fought Joe Lewis, put him down with a left hook. Little fat man, about 5'7" for a heavyweight, very small. But then lost in the 4th round to Joe Lewis. So, then you've got Dr. Bill Miller there. Happy Humphrey, 800 pounds there, but it's obviously not here. So it's a bit here. Steffi Hendley, Mickey Stolps, a few different names. Lou Marcelli, Traddy Langer. This is in Munich, Germany. Greta Riasas, the Berlin Bombshell, Mickey Stolp. And you've got Johnny Costas there. Johnny Costas. There's a few more on Johnny Costas. It's like a leaping wacky guitar-me there. Armbar. Mighty Hercules. So 280 pounds, powerhouse, 60-inch chest. Dory Funk Jr., Killer Kowalski, Ron Hansen. This is in Australia. You've got a bit on the box in there. You've got a bit on the British. That's Clay Thompson. Into the British. wrestlers. Then we go through the boxes. So yeah, good, lovely sort of colour there on the front. Marciano v Archie Moore. Then it opens out. You've got Marcel Sedan in there, who lost to Lamotta, and that was his last fight before the plane crash. Opens it out to, like I was talking earlier, Joe Louis v Billy Conn. 2 fights, he lost them both. 13th round, he was winning on points, then got involved. Obviously Joe Louis had their boxing title for 25 defences, a record, 12 years. Still a record today. You got a bit of wrestling there. So Joe Louis would referee, a lot of show wrestling later on. And this is November 1965. So a year after the Tokyo Olympics. And I'm sure, yes, May this year, Cassius Clay would beat Sonny Liston. Sorry, it was Muhammad Ali at this point. He would beat Sonny Liston, second time in Lewiston, Maine, on May the 25th, I think. Eddie Cotton there, Flasher Lordy, the great Filipino fighter. You've got Kid, Chocolate. Apparently 100-0 his amateur record was, don't know how true that is. Floyd Patterson. Joey Archer here. And Cole Mildenberger at the southpaw, who took Muhammad Ali to the 12th round. They wanted defences when he was near his peak, in a little bit of trouble, but soon got finished. Emma Griffith. And unfortunately, he was involved in 1962 with the Benny Parrott fight, where it was a fatal one for Benny Parrott. Not Brian Curvis there, who fought Emma Griffith. Joe Louis again, the Brown Bomber, and again in their fights, Robinson. He was from Salt Lake City there. Tex Rickard at the top, promoter. In a sort of Jack Johnson era. Flasher Lorde here, great Filipino. Before Manny Pacquiao, Frankie Navarez, and Flasher Lorde there. Joe Saldana, Peter Smith, so Canadian welterweight, Peter Smiths. Yeah, there's a few there. 21-year-old bantamweight, Joe Saldana. A few names there. Billy Longeron, 22-year-old welterweight from New York. And Dave White from Los Angeles, California, lightweight. These are all up-and-comers at the time. Baslin Pete Toro. Freddie Mills. We take the title off Gus Lesnovich, who had that for 7 years. He did avoid Jimmy Bivens though. He's Gus Lesnovich's manager openly said he avoided him. Freddie Mills there, cracking fighter. Not a great ending for him as well. John C. Heenan. So this is Tom Sayers, and this would probably helped to end the bare knuckle because this fight was so brutal. Police broke it up, it was a draw, and then they toured together. It was officially or unofficially the world bare knuckle title. Some say it was the first sort of international match. Some say Richmond and Tom Cribb was. It depends how you sort of read your history. So in Jerez, Mexico, we got Joe Napoli, smooth as butter, his nickname. Griffiths v Fulmer, Griffith, should I say, Emma Griffith v Jean Fulmer. was, yeah, McNeely. He would fight Floyd Patterson, and his son. Well, it was either his son or a member of his family would fight Mike Tyson later. Then you've got, it's going back in history here to 1940. Henry Armstrong fighting the great Fritzy Zivic. Sugar Ray Robinson always said he learnt most of Fritzy Zivic than any other fighter in his long career. Jack Dillon, the Giant Slayer, and going back to the bare knuckle era, Big Ben Carnes, champion of England, Kikavalian there. Marcel Sedan, like I say, he would retire against Jake LaMotta, his last fight. Shoulder injury, won't do the ratings, I'll do that in another one. So Yoshio Shira beat Dado Marino. Yeah, he was from Hawaii, I'm sure he was Dado Marino. The little guys there, I'm going to do the ratings, I'll do that in another one. Denny Moyer, Portland middleweight, fucking old fighter. Georges Carpentier, he fought Jack Dempsey, went up the weights, even fought Joe Jeanette and got a draw. But he pretty much fought in all the weight divisions, starting light. He's a Savate champion, which French kickboxing champion, which sailors used to use on the ships, the French style. And then he went to boxing. About the British amateurs, Eamon Andrews, the presenter. Talking there, Adam Ruckin fought fighting Harada from Japan, Lionel Rose, the little Australian Aborigine. Good little era that. Harada being the only man to beat Ada Joffrey, the Brazilian. Howard Winston, Welsh wizard, had a couple of fingers missing from a accident in a factory, but still didn't stop his fighting career. Billy Walker, yeah, good British heavyweight. Howard Winston, just mentioned him. The Welsh Wizards. Dave Charlie down there, little lightweight. Floyd Patterson. Bit like Customato. He was his trainer and Tyson's trainer. Emil Griffith. Again, obviously he's known for a lot more than that, just that Benny Parrott fight. Some say it was the Gene Fulmer fight just before that caused the damage. Ivan Kalimikov, the wrestler there. And Igor Vodixes in Minneapolis. Then you've got these. So we've got the ratings there of the. So Bruno Sammarito, Luthez, Kinji Shibua, Eddie Graham, Fritz von Erich, Ray Stevens, Mad Dog Vachon, Pedro Morales, Dick the Bruiser, Bob Ellis, Dom Denucci, Vern Gagney, Carl Gotch. We just done them. Yeah, they've already been done actually, I think. Johnny Valentine, I'll do them again. Ed Carpentier, Bobo Brazil, Haystack Calhoun, Frank Scarpa. So, it's similar to the other one actually. Fabulous Muller, Penny Banner, Judy Grable, Elmo Mills, Rita Cortez, Betty Butcher, Betty Nicoli, Pat Sherry. This is Princess Little Cloud, Jean Antone, Kay Noble, Georgia Brown, Judy Glover, Vern Bottoms, Tony Rose, Bambi Bull and Barbara Galento, Joan Phillips and Cora Combs. So I did a lot of them earlier actually. So that's the end of that one. Gonna do one more. So you got basically Marciano there now, and Roland Staza. On his way up, he had a close one with Roland Staza. Then he fought him when he had the title and beat him convincingly, bursting the blood vessels in his arms. So it was said he used to hit on the arms, Marciano. I'm going to go for the wrestling bit first though. There's a lot of writing, so let's go straight on the wrestling here. Yeah, so you've got, they call him Righteous Reggie, Lisowski, Righteous Reggie Lisowski. So they're so full, there's so many pages, there's so much in them. But Lucky Simonovich, Hurricane from Hawaii. You've got Jimmy Slattery, great old fighter there. But then you go to the wrestling here, so it's a good thing here. It's very well balanced. Lucky Simonovich. Lucky Simonovich. So, Lucky Simonovich. And he's bout with Alan Cashley and Lucky Simonovich. And got a few different photos there, show wrestling there. You got Classy Ray Gunkel, Righteous Reggie Lisowski there, Righteous Reggie Lisowski. Double collar tie, single collar tie there. Catch as catch can. Yvonne Roberts up the top. Swimming there, showing them training. Bob Langevin. Bob Langevin. Don Leo Jonathan. There's a few different names there. There's tag team stuff going on. Tony Balergian, Eric Pedersen, Henry Lenz there. So you've got Frenchie Roy, Johnny Balboa. And that's where he got the name from, Johnny Balboa there. Then you got a right toe crank going on there. Dory Detton and Jack Carter, very old school Frank Gotch type thing going on there. Then Rack Kurt. Kurt, Bockley, Baron von Hexy in India match, Enrique Torres, the Mexican, this toy Yamata. Bert Ruby training there, the old chest expanders, very old school. Killer Kowalski there. Yukon Eric, Alaskan, Yukon Eric, Cyclone, Anaya, Luthez at the top there. You know, Luthez. So we go to the boxing. I won't do the ratings. I'm going to do them on another one. The boxing ratings anyway. There's quite a lot of writing there. From Hawaii, it's all the same actually there, but lots of writing on these. You go back to the pictures. So we got that Rocky Marciano there. It's got their weight, height, and everything. Quite a small heavyweight. Yeah, fists, everything were very small for Marciano, but he still could bang. Leverage. He used to use everything coming up from the ground. A wonderful old trainer called Charlie Goldman. Really moulded him. Really, he was very raw before that. We got going to the boxing. So guy there, Carnera, Promo Carnera was the world boxing champion, Mafia run, unfortunately, but he also won a world wrestling championship. He could actually wrestle. It wasn't just show wrestling. He used to. It's how he was discovered in the circus, going around wrestling, etc. Strongman stuff as well. Big guy for them times. The Amblin Alp from Italy, getting beaten by Joe Louis there. Then we got Ralph Tiger Jones, biggest upsets in the Garden history, when he battered Johnny Bratton. He's a good old fighter, Johnny Bratton. Remember one fight he got his jaw broke, Johnny Bratton. Might have been against Kid Gavalian, I can't remember. But yeah, this Roland Stars, and that's how it finished the second fight. So some thought the Stars had won the first one, but they did. Yeah, definitely not the second. You got stopped. Carmen Basilio, the onion farmer, two-time champion, welterweight and middleweight. Him and Sugar Ray Robinson didn't get on. That's him against Kid Gavalian. Del Flanagan accepts Moody. That must have been on the undercard. Jimmy Carter, the only three-time lightweight lineal undisputed champ. It was the IBC days, so again they were Mafia run a lot of these, unfortunately. But he was a cracking fighter, Jimmy Carter. Took the title off Ike Williams after 6 years. Ike Williams had it, then he lost it. Rex Lane there, he thought he was on a Marciano's list. So was Ezra Charles. Got Jimmy Rouse crumples to the canvas, while Heen Ten Hoff. So these are all the undercard fights. Yeah. Picture of Jimmy Carter there. Great lightweight champion. A bit about Danny Nardico. He stopped the Raging Bull, Jake LaMotta. As did Robertson finally, after 5 fights. Tony Galento there. Two-time Tony Galento. He did go into the wrestling world also. He did have an accident. He fell at the ring and knocked himself out, but he was known for his drinking and saying, "I've no moya dada bum." But he did put down Joe Louis. The picture is there. A left hook, but then Joe Louis got up and finished him off in the 4th round. As you can see, he's a little fat guy for the weight, but a good fighter. Yeah, it just looks can be deceiving. Lulu Perez from Brooklyn. Looks like the only threat around for Sandy Sadler. Cracking fighter Sandy Sadler will train George Foreman later on. Lulu Perez there. We've got Philadelphia Jack O'Brien. He fought Jack Johnson for his title, and Tommy Burns. I swear he got a draw. I swear. And then you got Benny Bass, Tommy Lugren, a beautiful, masterful, wasn't a hitter, but he gave away £60 to Carnera, and apparently he had to knock him out. He wasn't going to win on points, and he lost on points, but he outboxed him apparently. The rule, apparently he said that on the agreement that they would only show bits of the film and they kept the rest of the film. So, don't know how true that was. Tommy Lugren though, great counterpuncher. The elusive, speedy, cunning midget Wolgast, battling Levinsky. Yeah, he fought pretty much 5 fights in a week. He did actually fight one time in the afternoon, one early in the evening, and one late in the evening. So the story goes. Over 200 fights. I think it's over 240, from what I remember. Benny Bass, also there, good fighter. Harold Johnson. So both him and his dad would fight Jersey Joe Walcott. I think that's the first. Percy Bassett there, featherweight. Marvin Alderman, promising middleweight. Johnny Jadek, lightweight contender. Lou Tedler, one of the greatest southpaws ever, really good southpaw. And we've got Billy Fox. Now, unfortunately, Jake LaMotta would have to throw a fight to get a world title shot because he was self-managed. And he had to go to court, and he said this in court and took down the mafia, but he still survived about 90 odd. Billy Fox, he threw it so badly, really. Not used to doing it. So lightweight, it's about there. 9.5 stone limit. Orlando Zuleta and Johnny Gonzalez at the Garden, Madison Square Garden. 4 Madison Square Gardens there have been. Paddy DeMarco there. Jimmy Carter, the only 3-time lightweight lineal undisputed champion ever. Beautiful pictures in here. Harry Greb. Unfortunately, there's no film on his fights. Yeah, and there's the folklore thing of him and Mickey Walker after they fought. They had a straightener, but again, it could be one of them folklore stories. Rocky Graziano. Apparently, he was inside with Malcolm X, and yeah, apparently. So the story goes. Stanley Ketchel, the Michigan Assassin. Middleweight champion 1872 was George Rook there on the left, who beat Tom Chandler. Then you've got Mike Donovan, 1884. The non-apparel Jack Dempsey, the first Jack Dempsey, the middleweight version. He fought Gene LeBlanche. Like I say, he invented the pivot punch, was the back fist. Bob Fitzsimmons, first 3-time division champion. When he won the 2 divisions, there were 6 weight divisions about. And when he won the 7 weight divisions, there was a newly formed light heavyweight division. So out of them 7 divisions, he got 3. Nowadays, there's 17 weight divisions. So the first 3-time weight division champion, Bob Fitzsimmons. Tommy Ryan, like I say, he fought out of a crouch. Good trainer, taught Jim Jeffries, Stanley Ketchel again, Mike O'Dowd, Al McCoy, again the phrase the real McCoy, Johnny Wilson, who Harry Greb over here had to take the court to fight him for his title. Don't blame him not wanting to fight Greb. Billy Pack, Frank Klaus, Durable George Chip, Tiger Flowers. Yeah. He would die under the same surgeon as this man here, Harry Greb, unfortunately. They fought each other, and you got Mickey Walker there. Like I say, welterweight, fighting heavyweights is something else. He fought Max Smelling, Ben Jebby, Lou Brollard there, Vince Dundee, Teddy Yaros, Eddie Bay Briscoe, Freddie Steele, Fred Apostoli, Giafono Garcia, Ken Overlin, who fought Ezra Charles, Billy Seuss, Marcel Phil at the top, Frenchman, Gorilla Jones, Freddie Steele there, Al Holstack, Solly Kruger, Tony Zhao, the Man of Steel, Rocky Graziano, Marcel Sedan, Jake LaMotta, and again Ray Robinson, and we got Randy Turpin, who would beat Ray Robinson in this country but lose the rematch, the 60-day champion they called him. Carl Bobber Wilson, Hawaiian Punch, battling Siki. And we got the great Kid Norfolk, in my opinion, avoided by Dempsey. Didn't really get their shots there. Mike McTeague. They fought on St Patrick's Day. And there's a civil war going on. You could hear gunshots, and they fought. You could hear them in the stadium. They still fought on. Mike McTeague. There he is, Primo Conera, the only world wrestling champ and world boxing champ. And Ernie Scaff, that was a fatal match, unfortunately. Ernie Scaff had in a hard fight with Max Beer just before. And Jimmy Slattery become there. So that's the end of that one. I think I can fit in here. Then we come, beautiful old fighter. Again, he would pull his shorts up, do L steps, robotics, and then take you out. Beautiful old fighter. Won the title at 37. He really won it before. He got robbed by he put Joe Louis down twice, and didn't get the decision. Joe Louis walked to the changing rooms. Didn't think he got the decision. But again, just like I said, Marciano did earlier, Joe Louis did in the second fight with Walcott. He beat him well, knocked him out. And again, same with these two. That would happen when he fought the Stars for the title. Obviously, Walcott fought Joe Louis for the title twice. Then he would finally win it at 37, taking out Ezra Charles, the guy who beat him twice. Then we got the wrestling, the Teuton Terror, Frederick von Schatz. Bob Baker, good fighter, underrated. So, I'm going to go for the wrestling bit first. Then you go for the boxing. Yes, so Frederick von Schatz, the Jekyll and Hyde, the Hun of the Mat, and Frederick von Schatz there. Falling apart these. And Ricky Torres, the Mexican wrestler. Frederick Schatz. Again, he's got a Kessie Katami, scarf hold type position. All sorts going on there. Frank Gotch. Again, this is the proper old school real wrestling. Frank Gotch, the toe hold he was famous for. Yeah. Trained under Farmer Burns, people like that, who actually would train, be a conditioner of James J. Jeffries, the boxer. But cracking wrestler in that golden age. You've got a show wrestling here where it all sort of this come from. Frank Gotch fought Hackensmith. And beat him twice, Hackensmith. And that was the real sort of, real wrestling. Yeah. Pancho the Bull, 98 pounds. Not politically correct, I don't think. Called midgets there. Gonna skip that one actually. Yeah. Mighty Atlas. So what's going on here? Millie Stafford. There's a few results there. You've got the names: Doc Gallagher, Lou Clean, no contest. Chief Lone Eagle won over Martini Angelo. Sailor Fred Blassie beat Bozo Brown. Al Saz beat Tony Martindale. Walter Palmer beat Billy Goals. Bronco Nagurski beat Promo Conera. King Kong Cashley beat Butch Levy, a draw actually. Jack Pasek v Steve Gobb, a draw. Mighty Atlas beat Leon Kirilenko. The Mighty Atlas beat El Saz. The Wild Bull Longston beat Sailor Fred Blassie. And Marvin Mercer beat Chris Balkas. Ruffy Silverstein beat Jack Pasek. Marvin Mercer beat Speedy Lawrence. Chief Lone Eagle beat Martino Angelo. Walter Palmer beat George Doucette. Ruffy Silverstone v Frankie Talibert, a draw. Vern Gagney beat Walter Palmer. Mild Bill Longston beat Whitney Whitler. Lord Jan Blurs beat Frankie Talibert. And Jackie Nichols beat Chief Lone Eagle. Funny names there. Mighty Atlas against beat Walter Palmer. Billy Goals beat Carl Engstrom. Chief Don Red Eagle beat Polo Cordova. Frank Talibert beat Jackie Nichols. Ruffy Silverstone beat Ed Francis. Jack Pasek beat Jean Hernandez. Vern Gagney beat Billy Goals. Oh no, it was a draw. Walter Palmer, obviously it's not real. Walter Palmer beats Chief Lone Eagle. Walter Palmer beats Tommy Martindale. Luthez beat Mighty Atlas. Luthez beats Hombre Montana. Mighty Atlas beat Ray Eckert. Walter Palmer beat El Williams. Chief Don Red Eagle beat Jean Hernandez. Ruffy Silverstone beat Ken King. Bob Clay beat Rudy Clay. Now Rudy Clay was the name of Muhammad Ali's brother. I wonder if that was the same. Interesting. Jean Hernandez beat Jimmy Henry. So, yeah, you got Jack Kaiser there and Kenny Mayne. The Boston Crab there. And the wrestling commentator, Dennis Drames. Max Bear, I thought it was Max Bear there. So again, he's such a character, you could not have him in wrestling as well. And his brother Buddy Bear, boxers, both fought Joe Louis. Sean Pazendak, the wrestler, and Nanjo Singh there. He's like a corner man, Nanjo Singh. Ed McCready from New Zealand. Junior heavyweight champ, Vern Gagney. So, now that looks like yeah, that's Gamma, the Great Gamma there. Yeah, Great Gamma. And I thought that was Jack Dempsey wrestling there. Jack Dempsey, the Manasseh Mauler, he's known as. Again, won the title in 1919 in Toledo, Ohio, the boxing title off Jess Willard. He's doing a bit of wrestling there. Oh, and it's the late Bull Montana he's wrestling with. He's got a seatbelt lock on him. And show wrestling. He did a bit of sort of catch wrestling, playing around Dempsey. But I think, you know, obviously coming out nearly a bare knuckle era, he'd be able to wrestle a bit. So, you know, for real. Bill Thom, the former champion, Indiana University, Olympic coach. So you got all these in the back. Then it's back to boxing. Mario Trigo, from his southpaw stance, few blows against Gil Turner in a Philadelphia bout. So go back and get the boxing. So, got Jimmy Carter there, the only three-time lineal undisputed champ. Ike Williams had the NBA and the NSAC, got the NSAC of Bob Montgomery. So there was 2 titles around, then there was 1, and then he lost it to Jimmy Carter. Kika Valian there, Tony Gennaro, he fought Graziano. But again, they're going back and forth. Obviously these are all not at this time. This is 60s. There's Dado Marino there. Hawaiian fighter. Dave Sands, Bob Baker v Bivens, it's going back to there. Jimmy Bivens, he put down Ezra Charles 7 times. And Archie Moore, I'm sure it was 8 times. I know Lloyd Marshall, Archie Moore put down 6 times, Ezra Charles he put down 7 times. When he beat him, he lost to him as well. And Lloyd Marshall put Archie Moore down 8 times. But again, they won and lost. You've got Chavez v DeMarco mixing it up. Paddy Young v Durando. Bob Baker there. Good old fight. A bit avoided Bob Baker. Bit of a match up here. The 1920s Jack Dempsey and Joe Louis there. The second black heavyweight champion ever. Then you've got up here Max Baer. Jeans Honey. Actually started at light welterweight, near a light, what was a light welterweight, 140 pounds. Would go up to beat Dempsey twice in 10 rounders for the world heavyweight title. Good fighter, the fighting Marine. Harry Matthews, good record. Like I said, when he went up and fought Marciano, he was giving away weight. Bob Baker, Joe Baskey, good old English fighter. There's a Charles there on the speedball. Hein Ten Hoff, the German contender, at the top, fighting Jack Gardner, heavyweight division. Yeah, there's a few centres. Then you got Bob Fitzsimmons, Tom Sharkey. There were real wars there. Growing up, Jack Sharkey, yeah, Tom Sharkey, Jack Sharkey later, the ball maker. And Jeffrey brought out retirement to fight Johnson, lost badly in Reno, Nevada, July the 4th. Yeah, July the 4th, I think that was 1910. July the 4th, Reno, Nevada, he's brought out retirement. His job to beat Jack Johnson, which he couldn't do. Well past his peak, but I think Johnson had his number personally, but again. So, Dundan Morgan, battling Levinsky up there. Had a lot of fights. Ted Kid Lewis, yeah, he fought in loads of weights. Coming up the bantamweight, Jewish fighter, Jack Britton. Yeah, they both fought each other a lot of times. I think it was 18 times. First time gum shields were used in that fight, in one of them fights, the Brockton Blockbuster, Rocky Marciano, beating a comeback-in Joe Louis, who was on an unbeaten streak, beating another past his prime Jimmy Bivens, but then he fought Marciano, and he got beaten by Ezra Charles. And then the only other man to beat him was way back in his career, Max Schmeling, who reversed. But these were at the end when he come back for money, really. After his 12-year reign, he retired and he'd come back. It didn't end up well. Rocky cried, beating his hero, knocking him through the ropes. So, got Jersey Joe Walcott there. Ray Arnold Cream was his proper name, changed it. But it was to Walcott, basically the first Walcott was a welterweight, Barbados Walcott, and he did that to honour him. Ray Arnold Cream was his name. Right again. So we got Jim Jeffries, Tom Sharkey. Yeah, he was again. He used to spar with Sam Langford, and Langford used to give him murders with body shots. Apparently, obviously that's Sam Langford, special fighter. Tex Rickard, the promoter. You had Jack Doc Kearns, who was the promoter of Jack Dempsey. There's a Charles there. He was sort of like the Murderers Row, but like Moore, they get excluded from that club because they finally got their shot. Archie Moore got his shot at 30, kept that title for 10 years, the light heavies before moving up. Again, there's a Charles, beat Archie Moore 3 times though. So that's the end of that one. Yeah. So I'm going to go last 2, get these all in. Let's go to the wrestling bit. Slapsy Maxie Rosenblum. Very underrated fighter for so many Hall of Famers, winning and losing. So we got the women's wrestling there. Barone Leon. Yeah. And Slapsy Maxie Rosenblum, the boxer there. Again, we're going to the wrestling bit there. So again, it's on the women's wrestling there. Nell Stewart. Again, fun and games there. Bit of a category fireman's throw at the top there. Now Stewart. So, rolling on. Again, a bit of film star looks. Sleeper there. It's got a face bar to me, but again, all the names there. Skeehy Lee at the top there. Skeehy Lee, Pat Flanagan, and Webber Watson. Tiny and El Mills. Left. Oh yeah, Von Roberts on the left. Emil Tarzan Zora. Yukon Eric Homeback, and then you got Vladek Kowalski, Al McCready. You did have a Dan McCready years ago, going back to the Frank Gotch era, but I digress. No, Dan McLeod it was actually. So again, that's Al McCready, nothing to do with it. I digress. That was in the real wrestling days. I was going back to Bobby Manigoff. So Vladek Kowalski. And you got the bowl there. So yeah, Enrique Torres, the Mexican wrestler. There's a lot of athletic stuff there. Ben Sharp being the victim there. June Byers there, famous woman wrestler. Ray Gunkel again. Check and double check there. It says so John Henning and Buck Weaver, like a sort of Frank Gotch-ish toe hold, but again, this is more of a figure 4. Buck Weaver there, that he was doing the real wrestling. He was as well. Show wrestling here, but again. Pepper Gomez and Chet Wallach. Dan Marlin Southland Terror. Nielsen there. Art Nielsen. Art Nielsen there. So Tiger Marsh on the left, Vic Mature. And again, wrestling going on there. Looks, yeah, you've got the Togo Brothers terrorising Canada, it says there. Again, nice sort of guillotine to hold there from this Kashi leg lock there. Abe King Kong Kashi. His name, Leo Jonathan there, the Mormon Mauler, and Filthy Richards Reigns, and Dirty Dick Reigns there, Bobby Burns, referee centre, Honest Abe Cashley, Hans Schmidt, and there's Junior, a lot of writing with these going back, so I'm going to go straight into the boxing. Lovely pictures on the other one there of Marciano, Ezra Charles there, and the great old light heavies, even though he didn't win the light heavy title. But again, we come back here. So, I mean, talking of that match, we've got Ezra Charles here. He had two matches with Marciano. In one of them, you can just sort of see the split. Apparently, he split down the middle his nose, but he never won. He never won the title, Marciano. Giving some right humdingers though. Not bad for a light heavy, stepping up the heavy. Beat some good people up there. Carmen Basilio, two-weight champion, welterweight and middleweight. Him and Robinson didn't get on at all. It was real. It wasn't just a bit of pre-hype fight stuff. It come from a time he reckoned he ignored him when he wasn't so famous. He said one day he would fight him. This is coming from Basilio. He would fight Shure Robinson, Paddy Young, Johnny Sullivan, gained the British Empire against Gordon Hazell. Paul Andrews, impressive there, knocking out Bobby Hughes. Again, Marciano v. Ezra Charles there. And through them. Harry Matthews, another Marciano. It's very similar, the names in here. And it's looking back. So good pictures in there. Boston Tar Baby, Sam Langford, five-time heavyweight colour champion. So he had to fight for the colour title because they wouldn't let these guys fight. And he started as a featherweight, not bad for a featherweight. Ended half blind end of his career. Also won the middleweight colour title. Really won the established lightweight against Joe Gans, but a bit stitched up with the weight. Someone told him to weigh in heavier, and he did. And then they said it's not for the title, but he beat Gans, and he was a lightweight champion. Also with Barbados Walcott, a welterweight. So, you know, like today, he'd probably be an 8 weight division champion. Sam McVeigh there, really muscly, raw fighter. Joe Jeanette, you had a loads around then, great fighters. They wouldn't really fight these guys, a lot of guys, due to the colour bar. But Jack Johnson got the title, and then he followed suit, really. Apart from fighting one coloured fighter, Jim Johnson, he wouldn't fight any of these guys who he fought on the way up, like Joe Jeanette, Sam Langford here, he got a draw against. No, so he beat on points, but he was very light. He was a middleweight when Johnson was a heavyweight. and he wouldn't fight him when he got the title. He pulled out of a deal. He was meant to fight him in England. But again, too deep to go into that. It would take too long. But again, he definitely, again, great champion though, all of them. Jack Johnson, Joe Jeanette, Harry Wills was another one. Got Chuck Davey here. Said Chuck Davey used to use Al Andrews as a sparring partner. Here he's beating him for real in the ring. So Al Andrews there, he fought Chuck Davey. You've got Barney Ross there, war hero and great fighter. Barney Ross would lose to Henry Armstrong, the free weight division champion. Again, one of the most, I think it's still the most welterweight defences ever. Max Smelling, who was the first man to beat Joe Louis, and then he got ruined in the first round just before the outbreak of World War II. Thomas there. Talking about Jim Braddock, the Cinderella Man. He's beating Harry Thomas, Max Spelling here, and Bobby Ortiz here. It says Carmelo Costa pounding out a decisive win over Baby Ortiz. So I'm not going to do the rankings. I'm going to do that on another video. Tex Rickard, the old promoter, there talking about him, and it's got Carmen Basilio, onion farmer, really tough little fighter he was. Yeah, it's got Basilio v Billy Graham there. Now Billy Graham had a win against Sugar Ray Robinson in the amateurs, but a bit of a folklore thing. Said he had an 85-0 record, Robinson, but he did actually get beat 3 times. Supposedly in the amateurs. The Michigan Assassin, Stanley Ketchel, Slapsy Maxey, probably up there with the fighters who fought the most Hall of Famers in their life. Let's see if I can fit this one in. So, Boxing Wrestling Illustrated, one of my favourites of this. So we're going to get the wrestling first. Yeah. So, Pat O'Connor, I think it's Pat O'Connor. Yeah, Pat O'Connor. The wrestler. Pat O'Connor. Quite a lot on the wrestling there for this one. Pat O'Connor. Got Joe Stolos tries to strangle Larry McQueen. And you got great pictures really, these Tolos brothers there. Then you got the women's there. Pat O'Connor. Bobo Brazil. That's fine athlete, looking athlete there. Bobo Brazil there, and Enrique Torres, the Mexican. Princess Tony Tamar. Then you've got these ratings. I'll do the wrestling ratings. You've got Pat O'Connor, Eduardo Carpentier, Killer Kowalski, Antonio Rocca, Buddy Rogers, Bob Ellis, Fred Blassie, Pepper Gomez, Don Leo Jonathan, Dick Hutton, and June Byers, and the female, Ada Ash, Judy Grable, Fabulous Moolah, Penny Banner, Princess Tonna Toma, Rose Roman, Tyler Preen, Barbara Baker, Lee Bitter, So, going to go through these now. Enrique Torres there. The tag team there. Ben Sharp. It's pretty much the same names mostly on these. Bobby Burns there, getting a face head crank of some sort. Rear head crank. Killer Kowalski. Mark Lewin on the floor. And Jerry Graham does a knee drop. A bit about Les Darcy, the old Australian boxer, died very young. And then you've got Don Arnold from California. So we get the boxing bit, a bit about Archie Moore there. Again, Gentleman Jim Corbett. He would lose his title to Fitzsimmons, but he would be the man to beat, really the first Queensberry officially for the title, beat John L. Sullivan, even though most of John L. Sullivan's recorded fights were in gloves, but he was in the bare knuckle era. Had about 10 years that title. John L. Sullivan, Corbett outboxed him. Science, Marvin Hart there. He would actually have a win over Jack Johnson on his way out, way up. A bit about Jack Dempsey there. The 1920s Jack Dempsey, not the non-apparel. Yvonne Durrell. Now we have some classics with Archie Moore. So there's Sonny Liston there against Nino Valdez, the Cuban puncher. That was a good win. He beat Cleveland Williams twice on the way up. Liston, but obviously he lose to Cassius when he was Cassius Clay and Ali. So basically the same fighter, but different names. Candy McFarlane sacks to the canvas, losing to the classy Leon Matthews. You've got Mexico's Gaspar Ortega, throws one to the jaw of Benny Kid Parrott, rest in peace. 1962, obviously that fatality, losing to Emil Griffith, then Zora Foley. Again, he ended up not a great way at the end, in a weird death. Pascual Perez, defence Argentinian, Pascual Perez against the Japanese Kenji Yonakura. There we've got Alonzo Johnson against Alex Mintef. And Muhammad Ali opponents, Tony Zell and Anna Steele. And again, George K.O. Cheney, 5 rounds there. When Johnny Dundee left, 1 on a foul over George K.O. Cheney. Tough Harold Gomez, slang-bound fighter, fights the shifty Paul Jorgensen in a junior lightweight division. Kenny Lane loses, gets dropped by Carlos Ortiz. Again, the Pittsburgh Windmill, Jackie Kid Berg there would lose. Yeah, a cracking fighter. Johnny Jadek there beats Tony Canzaneri. Kid Berg would lose to Canzaneri. And got Benny Bass v Canzaneri up there. And there's that Canzaneri fight there. And Les Darcy. No, it wasn't the Pittsburgh. It was the Whitechapel Windmill. Yeah, the Whitechapel Windmill. Kid Berg, Jack Kid Berg. Les Darcy there, Australian fighter. Died very young, as did Stanley Kitchell and Saldivar Sanchez. Again, Sammy Mandel, great Jewish fighter. And again, Tony Canzaneri, great pictures these. Again, he liked an elbow. Fritzy Zivic knew every trick in a book. The Zivic brothers. Again, 2-ton Tony Galento. Who's he got there? Nathan Mann he's fighting. Both Joe Louis, both Joe Louis opponents. Rocky Graziano against Red Cochran. And again, yeah, apparently in that one he held him against the ring post with one hand and pounded with the other. That looks very similar to that. Ancient Archie, the old mongoose. Heavyweight champion 10 years. And this fight there looks like George Dixon to me, but I might be wrong. Again, he was the first 2-time champion, I swear, of different divisions. Lou Tedler, great southpaw fighter, fought Benny Leonard. Lou Tedler. And that is pretty much it, yeah. So that's the end of the 18th, long one. The last one for a while. Bang.